my channel 5 Minute Economics, where I teach economic concepts in a span of just 5 minutes. The topic for today is price ceiling and floor price, which is a topic which is studied at the undergrad level, at school level, and even at the postgrad level of any competitive examinations. This topic is highly interesting topic and very important as well. So make sure you watch this video till the very end. In this particular video, I'll be talking about both the things respectively. In the end, I will also discuss the differences between the two, along with diagrams and effects of this, and basically all you need to know about these particular topics. So yeah, what are we waiting for? Let's get started. Also guys, don't forget to like this video and subscribe to my channel in case you still haven't already. It will mean a lot to me, and do follow me on Instagram on my handle 5 Minute Economics. So firstly, I'll be discussing everything you need to know about price ceiling, and then later on I'll be going to floor price. So what is price ceiling? As the name suggests, ceiling means the max, the maximum what can be charged. This is a simple way for you to remember, and hence price ceiling is also known as maximum price legislation. So sometimes what happens is government tends to set a maximum price for a producer that he can charge for the consumer. So this is basically done for the benefit of the consumers, so that the producers don't overcharge the consumers. So what happens is, this is the maximum legal price that suppliers can charge for their product. Definition. The diagram will ultimately make you understand the whole concept in detail, so I would require your attention over here. So we see that we have quantity on the x-axis and price on the y-axis. Here we notice DD is our red line, which is our demand curve, which is as always negatively inclined, and SS is our supply curve, which is positively inclined in blue color. Okay, so what happens is, firstly you have to understand that the government will set the price which is below the equilibrium price. Why does that happen? For example, if a price of a product is 50 rupees, okay, and government sets the price that maximum or a legislation price or price ceiling is 60. Does it even make any difference? Is it of any use? Okay, so that is 60 is what maximum can be charged, but actually uska price is 50. So keeping the price at 60 doesn't make any useful thing for the consumers. So what government has to do, they have to set a price which is below the equilibrium price. So they have to set a ceiling of maybe 40 rupees. Then more than 40 the producers cannot charge, and only then will this concept stand understandable. So we notice that, for example, if the government sets the price, our equilibrium price, you can see DD and SS intersect at point E, our price is P and quantity is Q. Supposingly government sets a price which is higher than the equilibrium price at P dash. At this situation, we see there is an excess supply. Can you see the blue line is rightward and the red line is on the left? So this is a situation of excess supply, and what will happen when there is excess supply and less of demand? It will automatically push back the price to P. So that is of no use. So what government has to do, they have to set a price below the equilibrium price. So supposingly government has set the price at P double dash. Okay, so what is this? When they set a situation when price is set below the equilibrium price P, we notice now here is a situation of excess demand. We see this line in black. I've made it in bold as well. This is the excess demand situation, as demand is more than the supply. And that, of course, setting the price at a lower price will lead to an excess of demand, also known as scarcity. Now what will happen is, now since there is scarcity of the product, how will we distribute the product to the other people? There can be three ways we can do that. First come, first service. So whoever comes first, maybe there's a queue in a shop, maybe there's a scarcity of onions. The one who gets in the line first will get the onions, others can just go. Second is seller's preference. Sellers might have some permanent customers or favorite customers, so they might do some nepotism, favoritism, and they might sell to the people whom they like. Okay. Thirdly, we can do a system of rationing, which is of course used very much. In India also we have this public distribution system, PDS. So what does government do? It sets or gives ration cards or coupons, you can call, to the people who are below the poverty line, right? So when those people go to the shop and show their ration card, so they get at that particular price. So this is how they can do the allocation, because setting a price below the equilibrium price will lead to a situation of excess demand. Now let us quickly head over to the adverse effects of price ceiling. what all can happen when the government sets a price which is below the equilibrium price. Number one, inferior quality of goods. It is but obvious that when the government has curtailed the producers to sell at a particular price, they have said that you have to charge this much price and not the price they want to, definitely their profits are curtailed, and when profits are curtailed, they might sacrifice or deteriorate the quality of the good, in fact giving an inferior good to the consumer because they cannot produce at that price. So inferior quality is one adverse effect. Number two, difficulty in purchasing goods from ration shops. So it's not easy for one to purchase goods from ration shops, because what might happen, there are long queues, sometimes unavailability is there, sometimes people cannot purchase the goods, so that might be shortages and difficulty in purchasing goods from ration shops. Thirdly, black marketing. Of course, this is one very prominent phenomena which might occur because of price ceiling. What happens is they want to sell above the normal price, producers, so they might charge extra to those who can afford. Even consumers who can afford extra price, they can say okay, we will give you at a higher price, you just give us the product. So that might lead to black marketing situation we've seen in cylinders, and in many markets black market prevails even in our country and in many other countries. So these are the few adverse effects of price ceiling. So now coming ahead to our second concept for the day, which is floor price, also known as a minimum price legislation. Floor, lowest level, minimum, okay, remember it like that. Ceiling, maximum level, remember it like that. So here, this is a very important concept. Now this is done for the producer's welfare, okay, that this much though you have to charge for whatever you're producing. Sometimes what happens is if a bumper crop is produced, then the price of it falls a lot. Well, let's keep that topic for some other day, but today what I'm going to teach you is that government legally fixes the minimum price for sellers to sell their goods or services. This is done in order to protect the producers from being exploited. And if in India, when the farm laws came, this was a highly spoken about topic. If you know or don't know, I'm not very sure. MSP. Why MSP was spoken about? This is what MSP is, that will the minimum selling price prevail or will it not prevail? So that time we had spoken a lot about it. So now moving ahead, so why does the government do so? I just told you, for the welfare of the producers. And where does it government usually does it for agricultural goods, which are to protect the welfare of the farmers in our country. And secondly, even for laborers, minimum wages are set ki itna you have to pay to the wages to the laborers, otherwise they are just exploited. So this is totally opposite of what we did the previous time. Now moving ahead to a diagram again, which will help you understand this concept pretty much in detail. Again, we have DD with our red line, which is a negatively sloping curve, SS supply curve, our blue line, my bad, and intersection at point E. P is equilibrium price and Q is equilibrium quantity. Again, x-axis पे quantity and on the y-axis we have price. Now what is done opposite thing over here? We see that if a government sets a price which is lower than the minimum, lower than the equilibrium price, it is of no use. For example, the farmer is selling at maybe 10 rupees and government says your minimum is 8. So it's not of any use to the farmer. Anyway, he is selling it at 10. So if the government sets a price below the equilibrium price, supposing at P dash, it is of no use. In fact, it will come to a situation of excess demand. You see, demand is more than supply, which will obviously push back the price to equilibrium levels. So the floor price has to be set above the equilibrium price at P double dash. So here is when the students tend to get confused. I think even back in school I used to get confused because everyone thinks floor price is, so it will be down. No, it is opposite. When you are selling the floor price, it has to be above the equilibrium price, and vice versa for the concept we just did previously for price ceiling. Okay, so this time the government has to set a price which is above the equilibrium, because supposingly they are selling it at 10 and they are not earning anything. So government will say that you have to charge minimum 12 rupees. So if you think logically that way, which I always tell you to, then that way we see our price will be at P double dash. Now this is a situation that government will put a floor price at this P dash, and now we see there is a situation of excess supply. Obviously sellers are ready to sell at OQ double dash, and the buyers are ready to demand at OQ dash. So you see there is a situation of excess supply when government sets a price which is above the minimum price. So that will lead to some further effects which I'll just be speaking about in the next few minutes. Into the effects of floor price. So obviously setting the price above the equilibrium price will have certain effects. Let us go through them one by one. Number one, increases the burden on consumers. As you see, this is something which is done for the welfare of the producers. Indirectly, it does harm the consumers because they are paying a higher price than what they were supposed to pay, than the equilibrium price. So it's like a burden on the consumers. Secondly, stock in government warehouses. So what happens is this excess supply situation is there. So government has to purchase. What does government do? Government purchases that excess stock from the farmers, and they have to keep it in some warehouse, right? They have to store it. So they have to have more warehouses, storage houses, which is like a burden on them. And sometimes, like in India only, there is excess stock with the Food Corporation of India because of this particular situation. Thirdly, taxpayers need to pay more taxes. So obviously, when the government is wanting to produce this from the, purchase this from the farmers, they have to have more money, which burdens our taxpayers. Secondly, also they have to have more storage houses, which again indirectly burdens the taxpayers of our country. Next, income of farmer increases. Well, this is a positive effect of this particular situation. We are doing this totally for the welfare of the farmers so that they are able to sustain, because we know how much farmer suicides and how the farmers live in the country. So definitely the income of farmers increases, which is a good effect of setting the price as at MSP. Now, how to dispose this excess supply or excess stock of goods? That can be done in three ways. Number one, it can be sold as subsidized rate in the PDS system, as I told you, public distribution system, and rationing, that ration cards are given and they can dispose of this. Secondly, food for work programs. There are many programs which give you food in return of work, like you're not paid wages, but food is paid like wages. So it can be used over there for such programs. And thirdly, it can be even sent to other countries who are in need of aid of food grains when they have some calamity or anything like that. And also it can be exported to them. So this is how we dispose of that excessive supply when we have floor price set. So lastly, coming to the differences between price ceiling and floor price. If you're smart enough, I think you can already tell me the differences by your own self. So let us firstly see, by definition only, we study that price ceiling is the maximum price which is charged for the goods which are sold, right? And floor price is the minimum set, which is price set by the government, which is asked from the producers. So that is the maximum price charged. This is the minimum price which is set by the government. Next, safeguard the interest of consumers. Obviously, this is for the welfare of consumers, and this is for the welfare of the producers or the farmers, right? And thirdly, it is set below the equilibrium price. Always remember this, guys. You might just get confused in. So price ceiling is set below the equilibrium price, whereas floor price is set above the equilibrium price. This obviously creates a situation of excess demand, and this obviously creates a situation of excess supply. So these are the differences. You can have a look at them at a glance. And that is all about this particular video, floor price and price ceiling. I hope I was able to help you out. If I was, please do comment in the comment section below. And thank you so much for watching this video, and I'll see you in the next video pretty soon.